Guys,
what's going on?
Yeah.
This is a way of mine, and we sleep away our misery in our blood-soaked sheets. We've left our homes to infect the world and addict you all to this deep-sound heat. Our bodies full of scars and venom but to bleed. Our pleasure stops our heart and leaves us 6 feet deep. Fall to your knees and recognize the new boundaries. Where we come from, the sun is the law. When there's no homeland, we will not fall. Among the giants, we still stand tall, and we will not be stopped. 'Cause we go and let the wind blow like a hurricane into the rain. The pressure's never ending, we jump right into the bidding and comprehending right into the bidding. Just let go and live one with the family. What decisions have become like control, and we will swallow this world. This is our way of life. We've left our homes to infect the world and addict you all to this deep south heat. Our bodies full of scars and venom but to bleed. Our pleasure stops our heart and leaves you 6 feet deep. Fall to your knees and recognize the new boundaries. Where we come from, the sun is the law. When there's no homeland, we will not fall. Among the giants, we still stand tall, and we will not be stopped. 'Cause we go and let the wind blow like a hurricane into the rain. The pleasure's never ending, we jump right into the bidding and comprehending right into the bidding. Just let go and live one with the family. What decisions have become like control, and we will swallow this world. You are nothing. We are everything. You are nothing. We are everything.
Look at who I got here in the studio. Sirius XM Liquid Metal, all the way from Knoxville, Tennessee. We got Phil and Alex, vocals and guitar respectively, from Whitechapel. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Yeah. Welcome to our studios here in Seal Beach, California, and congrats on the release of your 7th studio album through Metal Blade Records called The Valley. Another one. The follow-up to the album that came out about 3 years ago called Mark of the Blade. Congrats, Phil and Alex, on this release. I know you guys have worked very Pray Hard. There's a big co-headlining tour with Dying Fetus.
Yes.
A nice tour that all the grandmas can come out to.
Yeah,
The
right.
whole family. Bring the whole family. Dying Fetus is playing with Whitechapel.
Yes, bring your newborns.
On the Chaos and Carnage tour, starting off April 18th in Slayerville, New Jersey, wrapping up in North Carolina on May 17th, man. So the album The Valley. Phil, I know when it was just first discussed about releasing this album, it was going to be based on true events somewhat of your life. What's the story you're telling, Phil?
So basically, this takes place after my dad had passed away. So essentially, it takes place after the song "Bring Me Home."
Off the last album.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's kind of like a sequel to that song, but just like the dark and not so happy sequel. I mean, that song's not really happy either, but it's more of like a softer, kind of sentimental song. But this whole album is very, very dark. And it's basically just the whole period of my life from like after he died up until about 15 years old. So 10 years old to 14 to 15. And it's basically just the downfall of my mom and just, ultimately to her death. And it actually has, some future stuff in there because I learned, a couple of years back, my stepfather had passed away, which I'd never been happier to hear somebody was dead. But yeah, I mean, it's just the whole, just all the stuff that I remember. Some of it's figurative because some of it's based off of her perspective, and some of it's based off of just imaginative stuff's based on true things. Some of it is literal, some of it is true to what I'm saying. Some of it, like I said, is figurative, and it's not like this is exactly what happened kind of thing.
And why go so personal this time around on this album, The Valley?
Because as a lyricist and coming up with concepts, coming up with stuff is when it comes to like time constraints and stuff, it's it can be pretty difficult. But you can write brutal stuff, just like kill, destroy, blah blah blah, and like that's just been done over and over and over again. This is like a personal look, and it connects because it's real. It's it's not some imaginative or just like fairy tale thing. It's real, and people can connect to it, and they can take away from it maybe a life lesson, or it might help them cope. It might help them not kill themselves. I've actually had people tell me that I've helped them not kill themselves. Stuff like that lasts forever, and it goes a long way with a lot of people.
So with that and with you, was it therapeutic getting all this shit off your shoulders?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to be like, hey, like, kid that listens to our music that, gets abused or
similar situation.
Yeah, similar situation, or even completely different, but still just hardships. Hey, you're not alone. A kid that's like 13, 14, or even a little later into their teenage years can listen to this and just be like, oh shit, this guy went through a lot of stuff, and now
I'm
he's
not alone.
33 years old and he's still alive and he's doing well. I just have to stick this out, and things will get better, kind of thing.
Good.
And there's people out there when it comes to metal, they're like, oh no, it just needs to be brutal, it just needs to be super serious, blah blah blah, like you're a man, like you have to be masculine, and just like that's not what metal's about, man. It's about I feel like this type of genre is about living that kind of like rebel kind of lifestyle, but also just being a human. Like we're all human. We all get sad, we all get happy, we all get depressed. We all feel the same emotions. It's just, we deal with it differently than, just say the average person would. Instead we listen to heavy metal and scream and, just get wild and crazy, when some people just get depressed and they just sit in their room, and, this is a therapeutic kind of music, and people need to stop in metal. A lot of people just think, cause like we scream for like the first 5 albums. So people naturally are going to hold on to that and be like, if they do anything different, I'm just not going to like it, kind of thing. And that's the thing, is like, if you don't like it, that's fine. just you just don't listen to it. If
Well,
you
I want to
like
talk about the direction of the album and the music and stuff, but I'm hanging here with Alex and Phil, a vocals, guitar player, Whitechapel, Knoxville, Tennessee, representing hard here on Sirius XM, celebrating the new album, The Valley, which Phil has been talking about, the lyrical inspiration based on his life events. And right now, let's get into some music, right? And let's play some music, because I know Alex wants to play some stuff here on Liquid Metal. You got some stuff, Phil, that you want to play as well. These guys are taking over this hour here on Sirius XM, and we're featuring stuff off the Metal Blade album called The Valley, which is out there now. Number 7 from Whitechapel. Let's go into the first song, which I love a lot, and it starts off the album, When a Demon Defiles a Witch. What a great song title. Fucking sick song title, man. Let's get into it. And then from Whitechapel, congrats, guys. The release of The Valley is out there now through Metal Blade Records, number 7 overall for you brothers from freaking Tennessee. And I call you brothers because you guys are like married to each other.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
You guys have been
on the road
13 years now, right, Alex?
Yeah, man. 06, hell, it's 2019. You do the math. Fucking 13 years.
You know what's so cool? We've been supporting you guys since the very beginning. We've been talking to you guys for a very
long relationship.
Yeah, man. This is my almost 19th year here at Sirius XM. So it's cool to be chilling out here with Whitechapel, talking about the new album, The Valley. Also, the co-headline tour with Dying Fetus, the Chaos and Carnage tour starting off in Slayerville, New Jersey, Liquid Metal on April 18th, wrapping up in North Carolina, Winston-Salem to be exact, on May 17th. And we were talking about the lyrical influence and motivation prior here with vocalist Phil from Whitechapel. I want to talk about just the music itself, man, because it's fucking heavy, but then there's passages that are just 180, they're just flipping it like on its head, something different, and then it goes back to the brutal. I've always loved when bands would go back and forth, and we talked about it like Opeth, a band where they can be fucking heavy, but then at the same time you're cruising with your mom and she's like, well, this is actually really cool music. And then it scares them back when it goes back to something heavy. Yeah. But I feel like The Valley has a lot of those parts where it's just taking listeners on a crazy roller coaster ride.
Yeah. I think that was really important for us, was to make the most dynamic album we could possible, and to not only magnify the dynamics within the songs themselves, but to magnify the dynamic of the album as a whole. So within the songs, you have your roller coaster, like ups and downs, but then as an album, you have your fast, starts out with a really fast song. Second song is faster. Third song slows it down a little bit. Fourth song slows it down, introduces some newer shit, So I think it's really important for us to show people that, we're not really like a one-trick pony band, that to us personally, we have no interest in like limiting ourselves. We're just going to create music, and if it sounds good, then we're going to release it. So
nice. Was it difficult around this time? Number 7 album for you, Alex, coming up with these riffs with your partners?
Honestly, I truthfully feel like this album came together easier than the last one, Mark of the Blade. I don't know why that was. It just felt like a lot of the pressures were different this time around, and it was more of a relaxed vibe. And I think that really helped translate into the creation of the music. It was just a lot more of a fluid process.
Nice. What came first, music or lyrics?
It was the music, actually. And, some other interviews, people have asked, like, what was it like writing the music to lyrics that were this deep and this involved for Phil personally? And the funny part about it is that we actually wrote all the music first. So it's really weird how fitting the music was for what he wanted to do lyrically, when honestly we had no idea what he was going to do lyrically.
And that's always how it is. I can never pre-write lyrics. It's like I look at musically, the instruments are like the house, and my lyrics are the furnishings, kind of thing. Like that's. You're not really going to furnish.
Yeah, he lays it on like
you're not going to pre-furnish. You're not going to pre-furnish an unbuilt house, kind of thing. I mean, you could if you did like all the architecture and like
it's almost more
stuff.
It's almost more work. Though.
Yeah, but I mean, like if that's how I've always viewed it. Like the house is the foundation. That's where everything is, and then you put everything in that fits in the house.
Nice. And then you, on this album, man, I hear you, Phil, utilizing those vocal chops of yours a lot more. You sound great, dude. You sound really cool. On the last album, I know you brought it, but this time I feel like you're showcasing it more.
That was the whole idea, especially with like the last album, because we had a few parts where, I sang, but on this album, I wanted to give a little bit more, it's kind of, you just kind of it's kind of like trying something new. You just kind of ease into it instead of just like, we didn't want to just make a whole album of, just Hickory Creek or Third Death, like that's kind of honestly disrespectful to our fans, in a sense. But at the end of the day, like we are who we are and we can do whatever the hell we want to because it's our band, we can write whatever music we want to. But like people that have been following us since 06 or 07 or 08, it'd be kind of...
They're always going to want the brutal.
Yeah, and I mean, we're always going to bring that.
And we're always going to bring it, yeah, of course.
But
that doesn't mean that we're not going to try something different every now and then.
Yeah, it's just like I've always said, it'll probably never happen. It would be definitely odd, and it would be, weird if it happened. But, if Cannibal Corpse wrote an acoustic song and George sang and it all sounded good, who gives a shit if it's Cannibal Corpse? If it sounds good and you like it, cool.
That'd be on heavy rotation here on the Metal.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Like acoustic, fucking A, number one, man, on the Devil's Dozen. Hanging out here with Phil and Alex from Whitechapel, representing Tennessee, and these guys are going to be hitting the road of Dying Fetus, Revocation, Fallujah, Spite, Uncured, and Buried Above Ground. Starting off in Slayerville, New Jersey, at the Starland Ballroom on April 18th, 2 days before 420, Alex, and ending in North Carolina on May 17th. We are having the guys pick out some of their favorite metal jams to play on Liquid Metal, and we're also featuring songs from the 7th album from Whitechapel called The Valley, out now through Metal Blade. Shout out to Vince Edwards who's here. Yeah, Vince. Woo! Hey. Let's play a song right now off the album called Doom Woods, and then we're